Hello, students. Welcome to today's lecture. Today, we are going to continue with the principles of liberal humanism. Let's take a look at the sixth principle. The focus here is on the purpose of literature. According to liberal humanists, the aim or objective of literature is to enhance, to better life, and to propagate, to spread humane values. But it should not be in a programmatic way, or it should not have any agenda behind it. Because we tend to distrust any literature that is overtly or directly political, or which seems to have an ideology or a propaganda behind it. The purpose is essentially to transform, to better human life. Now, the seventh point is also about the nature of a literary work. Here, the focus is on the form and content. According to liberal humanists, both form and content should be fused in an organic way. It should appear as a complete whole. Form should not appear as separate from the content. Let's say a poem of three stanzas following a particular rhyming scheme, or an imagery that you use within a poem. It has to do something with the content. It should relate with the content. So both the form and content should complete and complement each other. It should be a blend rather than remaining as separate entities. Or do not ever use form merely for the purpose of decoration as an addition to the content. That would appear fanciful, as Coleridge said, and not exactly imaginative. Okay. Now, the eighth principle that the liberal humanists spoke about is the quality of a literary work. So the quality that liberal humanists speak of about in here is sincerity. Sincerity as in how you remain true to your experience, how you're honest your own self, or how you are able to showcase compassion, empathy, and all. So this aspect of sincerity is very much evident in the language of literature, because literature is all about life. So you need not use cliche, overused expressions or bombastic expressions to talk about an event. If there is sincerity in your literary work, the language that you use will literally enact what you're trying to depict. Okay, you need not go in for explicit demonstrations or explicit statements about a particular event, but the language itself will mime or enact what you're trying to depict here. So whether it's a fictional or real event that you're portraying, the requisite emotions emerge implicitly through the language that you use in the work. The ninth principle is a continuation of the eighth tenet. So what is valued in literature is silent showing that arises from sincerity, obviously. Silent showing and demonstrating rather than, using words to explain and represent something in an abstract way. So words that you use, the language that is there in literature, it it can mime and enact when there is sincerity about that work. So rather than explaining and saying ideas directly, a good literature can silently show what is happening around. For example, in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, you have two central characters, Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. They come from totally different social background, and the question is with regard to why you should marry. Should you marry for love, or should you marry for social status or money? So this whole idea of the divide of social status is not directly discussed there. It is silently showed. It is silently demonstrated. Now, finally, liberal humanists speak about the job of criticism. Who is a critic? A critic is somebody who interprets the text, who acts as a mediator between the text and the reader. But it is very important that they don't propagate any preconceived theories or notions or ideas, because that can get between the reader and the text. So let the reader form impressions or ideas about the literary text through direct experience with the text. So these are the 10 tenets and principles of liberal humanism. I hope you understood the lecture. Thank you again for patiently listening.